So YieldMax announced their distributions this week for Group 1 and Group 2, and we'll go over those. We'll also take a look at SPY, as I want to show you what I'm looking for on options next, and that I did make some money yesterday on SPY. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to take a look at the distributions for Group 1 and Group 2 of the YieldMax ETFs. Then we'll take a look at my spreadsheet, see where I'm currently setting on my ETFs that I do own. And then we'll finish it off with looking at SPY, as I did get my shares taken away, which earned me a nice chunk of money. And then what my next step will be on SPY. So let's just go ahead and we'll knock out these announcements on Group 1 and Group 2 of YieldMax, and then we'll be able to get into the good stuff. Okay, so we're going to start right off with Group 1 of the YieldMax ETFs, and this is for January 6th. X date was January 7th, and the pay date for these will be January 8th. And we have CHPY with 50 cents, FEAT 26 cents, FIVY 20 cents, GPTY 29 cents, LFGY 28 cents, QDTY 17 cents, RDTY 15 cents, SDTY 13 cents, SLTY 40 cents, ULTY with 47 cents, YMAG 5 cents, and the last is YMAX with 8 cents. Now out of these, I have YMAX and I have ULTY. So I'll be able to update my stock tracker sheet this weekend with those, which will help to lower that real price per share. Next, we have Group 2 of the YieldMax ETFs, and this was for January 7th with an X date of January 8th and a pay date of January the 9th. And the first we have is ABNY 26 cents, AIYY 18 cents, AMDY 39 cents, AMSY with 6 cents, PLTY 4 cents, BABO 11 cents, BRKC 10 cents, CONY with 40 cents, CRCO 37 cents, Crash 23 cents, CVNY 31 cents, DIPS 37 cents, DISO 4 cents, DRAY 29 cents, FBY 6 cents, FIAT 27 cents, GDXY 12 cents, GMEY 32 cents, GUI 7 cents, HIYY 29 cents, HUI with 55 cents, JPMO 5 cents, MARO with 13 cents, MRNY 17 cents, MSFO 5 cents, MSTY with 37 cents, NEFLY 7 cents, NVDY 10 cents, OARC 23 cents, PLTY with 45 cents, PYPY 24 cents, RBLY 24 cents, RDYY 47 cents, SMCY 7 cents, Snowy with 8 cents, TSLY 31 cents, TSMY 11 cents, Winter with 52 cents, Zomo with 5 cents, XYZY 34 cents, YBIT 30 cents, YQQQ 5 cents. I have a few here for the Defiance funds, so we'll take a look at those as well. This has an X date of January 8th and a pay date of January the 9th. And that's IWMY for 11 cents, QQQY 13 cents, WDTE 18 cents, GLDY 16 cents, and USOY for 5 cents. And last is the RoundHill. This has a distribution X date of January 8th with a pay date of January 9th. And the first is XDTE for 16 cents, QDTE 15 cents, and RDTE for 17 cents. And that wraps up all of my announcements that I've received. And let's just take a quick look at my spreadsheet just to get a quick update. Now, I have not entered in those distributions yet. I'll do that this weekend. But as you can see, CONY is only 11% down now. It was as much as 16 at one point. I've got it now around 11% down. ULTY is only 2.7% down. We got SMCY with 5% down, and that's only an $87 loss at the current moment on SMCY. HUI, it's 1% down. The other day, it was actually green. So this one here is just right there on the border. It keeps flip-flopping back and forth. So once I get a few distributions, if HUI wants to stay right where it's at, then I should be able to get a little bit of distance from that market price. But we'll see. But in my thoughts, it just takes a little bit of time to get that price down on my real price per share by earning those distributions. And the last one that I have that is down is DIVO, and it's only down 0.6%. And the same goes with DIVO. It's currently at a $45 market price, and my real price per share is $45.30. So not too bad on that one as well. But you can see that the rest of them are green, ranging from 77% good to 9% good, 7%, 18, 13, 6, 29, 9, 82% good, and so forth. So overall, I'm sitting pretty good in my opinion. And if I were to sell out of everything, including ones that I did close out, I would gain $18,000 for selling out of all of these high yield ETFs. So for the moment, I'm sitting pretty nice. But I will continue to get that real price per share down on SMCY, ULTY, CONY, HUI, and DIVO, just simply by capturing those distributions and buying when it hits my indicators, which tells me when to purchase more shares to also help to lower that real price per share so that it's working double time for me. And of course, if you would like to get a copy of this spreadsheet where you can track each and every one of your ETFs that you are invested into simply by entering in your purchases here in this table, entering in your distributions into this table, and then it does all the calculations for you. It creates your real price per share, and then it puts it all nicely packaged right into that summary sheet right here. And all of that information is pretty much right here on one sheet for you simply to just scroll right on through and see which ones that you need to focus on to help to work that real price per share down. But if you're not tracking your real price per share, then you really do not know where you're at in your position. But again, if you'd like a copy, come on over, join the Discord. The link will be in the pinned comments and down in the description below. So now let's just go ahead and jump over into the stock charts. And the one that I definitely did want to take a look at is SPY. Now, SPY, I was assigned those shares on this day right here, which was that 12/31. It assigned me those shares, and I was assigned those shares at $6.84, and I earned $80 in premium just for selling that put for that same day expiration. The next trading day, it did drop, but then it started moving back up. And this candle right here, and this was yesterday's candle, as you can see, we had a nice little pop up yesterday on SPY. And as it was moving up, I did sell a call on it, and I wrote that call at $6.90. Well, you can see that it actually closed at $691.81. And for selling that call, I did earn $100 for that premium. So the put got me $80, the call got me $100. So right there's $180 of premium in my pocket. But since I did get assigned those shares at $6.84 and I wrote that call at $6.90, and those shares were taken away that day because it did close above my strike of $6.90. It closed at $691.81, so my shares were taken away. And therefore, I earned the price appreciation between the $6.84 and $6.90, which is $6. And each contract is 100 shares. So that's $6 times 100 shares, which is $600. So I earned $600 in price appreciation, and I earned $180 in premium. So together alone, I earned $780 just between December 31st of 2025 up to January the 6th of 2026. And that was actually only 3 trading days because of the holidays. So that is pretty good money, if you ask me, to make close to $800 just a few days of trading here. Now, had it not closed above my strike, then my shares would not have been called away, and I would have been able to sell another call today. As you see, it did go all the way up to $6.93, and I could have sold another call there and probably made another $50 to $80. But you can see that it did tail off, and it ended up dropping down to $689.58. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't get my shares called away, and I was toying with the idea of rolling it, but I thought I'll take that $600, lock in that gain, and just wait for it to pull back to sell another put. And today it did pull back, but did it pull back quick enough for me to actually sell a put? Well, if we look at that 5-minute chart right here, and that's what I use to decide if I'm going to sell a put or sell a call on, depending on if I have the shares or not already. So the first thing I always do is I draw my line here for the upper. And this is yesterday, and this is the after hours of yesterday. And I draw a green line at that max amount. I do the same thing for that lower line right here. I draw a line from yesterday through the after hours of yesterday, and I find that low point and I draw a line there. So since my shares were called away, I'm looking to sell a put. So when it opened today, you can see it was at the top, right? And that's the reason I'm saying I probably could have sold another call had I not got my shares called away, but I did. So I'm looking to sell a put, and you can see this is at the top. So I'm definitely not looking to sell a put up here. I want this stock to actually drop all the way down to 687. Not sure if it's actually going to do it or not, but that is my method and that's my plan. And as you can see, it actually was moving up and was moving up, and then all of a sudden it started falling, right? But it did not quite get down as low as the 687, but it did drop all the way down to 689. So a nice drop at the end of the day. And what does that mean for tomorrow? Well, if tomorrow it comes out and it's still at this low point, I might be selling a put around this point. And why would I say that? Well, because I need to redraw my lines. I always draw my lines for the previous trading period. These lines here were from yesterday's trading period. Well, come tomorrow, today is going to be yesterday's trading period, right? So I need to readjust these lines. So I'll put this one at the top, and it don't have to be perfect. We'll just drop it in right there. There's the top. And I want to find the bottom to move the red line to. And that bottom looks like it's at 689.12. So I'll just take it right up to about right there, drop it. So as you can see, we are on that bottom side of that line, right? So coming tomorrow, when we open up, if this thing starts coming down, I'm going to look to see if it can break below that 689 area and look to hopefully be able to sell a put at around 688 or even 687. It just really depends on what happens at the first part of the day. But if we start getting a pretty hard downtrend, I might be able to sell a put around that 687 to 688, earn some nice premium. And if it does close under that price, I will get put those shares again, except I'll get put those shares at 687 or 688, depending on whichever one I do select for my strike. And I'm doing it all over again. I'll be looking for this to then move on back up, get to the top up there, sell my call, and make more money. So $780 yesterday, and the time before I made around $1,200 on a option play, and all using SPY. Now, you don't have to use SPY, but the reason I do use SPY is pretty simple. And that is because the 1-year chart and the 5-year chart, that 200 MA, which is that red line, those candles are staying right above it. And that's what I'm looking for. Because if that stock does drop, I want to make sure that over time, it'll go back up. And all I've got to go off of is the history of that stock or ETF. And for a SPY, no matter how far I scroll back, this one here wants to stay above that MA200. So worst case, it drops back down close to that MA200, and I might have to hold these shares for a while until it moves back up above my price. But at least the history tells me that even though it might take a little bit of time, I don't think I'm going to lose money on the trade. Unlike taking more of a riskier stock or ETF and not sure if it's going to continue moving up or if it's going to crash on down. And that's why I use SPY and a few others that I do like to do options on. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, as it would be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.